You are now watching Maine Wire TV with your host, Tom Shattuck, featuring Maine Wire Editor-in-Chief Steve Robinson and the indispensable John Featherston.
I don't know if it's up there, Seamus, or if it's been published yet, or maybe it's about to be published. But your piece on the elections lady giving the heads up that there's been infiltration. I remember thinking the headline was very, very well done and very coy, and very much enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. It was a piece. If people don't remember, the Unquirer yesterday published this fantastic piece of audio with somebody calling it was the Falmouth, the town clerk, essentially, is the voting person, and looking for advice on how to get their Angolan friend to vote. And eventually the conversation went to that we were all on stolen land. It was a marvelous job by those guys at the Unquirer. They've got a few of those. Actually, I played it today. I hosted for Jerry Callahan on the Callahan podcast. And those guys, that audience loved it too. I mean, it's just so unbelievable. But now
do I have to pay taxes because I live on stolen land, Tom? I don't know, but
that's a great point. Actually, I don't think so. I think that means that both the state of Maine, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the United States are not credible entities. Actually, John.
Yeah. I think it's a good point.
I think that basically that totally negates all laws, basically.
Yeah,
I like it.
And so anyway, I forgot what the lady's name is, but the elections honcho, we'll call her, put the word out to heads up, look out. You might get people recording your phone calls when you're talking about telling them how to do election fraud. I think is hilarious. Like, why would
it's hilarious, and I think it's worth noting how poorly written that her email was. I don't have it right in front of me, so I can't read it off. But it's astounding that that's the quality of writing that she's sending out in official notices. It's just that kind of thing. I like that kind of thing. It's pretty funny.
If that's not
we did tweet it out so you all can read it or scroll through the Facebook to find it. So it is out there.
It is. It's great. And Seamus, one of the things I do in editing is throw it through AI. And it was like, essentially, are you sure? Are you sure you're okay with this? And I'm like, yeah, he wrote sick. This is all them. This is the official stationery happening here. Amazing. It's so enjoyable.
The best part of this for me is she's like, please remember that they actually need to be a citizen and able to vote. It's like, we can't admit that non-citizens are voting, guys. Like, let's clean it up a little bit here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know Angola was part of the United States. I didn't know that.
In other words, like, when you give guidance on how to do voter fraud, please do it in a way that doesn't embarrass us. Is the guidance?
Well, the famous clip of Shanna Bellows being like, some non-citizens may be on the voter rolls. I tweeted this out too. If you extend that out another 5 seconds, she's like, that's why we have election clerks. They are working every day to clean up the voter rolls and make sure this doesn't happen. Well, like, if anyone listened to those recordings, do you get the impression those election clerks are working every day to prevent non-citizen voting? Like, no, quite the opposite.
I think election clerks are one of the protected classes. There's like protected professions for liberals that you just can't criticize the people who work in these professions because they are national heroes. And I think election clerks, teachers, I think nurses are on there too. It's just none of them can ever be guilty of anything worthy of criticism. They're just national heroes no matter what.
Seamus, I think you're forgetting about the high sheriff of wokeism, the librarian.
Oh, right, librarians. Yeah, of course. They're also heroes. They're in the trenches.
I love that too. Well, I have to hand your child pornography because I'm a licensed librarian. Yeah. I've had training.
Grad school. They have to go to grad school to become librarians.
Another racket, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I just on a more serious note, real quick, Shanna Bellows has gone to all these like deep liberal think tank type of like talking where you sit down and you talk about the threats to democracy. and she kept saying over and over again that election clerks were facing serious threats. And then I'm pretty sure we followed her, and there was like absolutely no threat that she was talking about. And now there's a new one she's claiming where she got white powdered. That's what she's been running out on MSNBC now. I've never heard her say that before until this week.
Oh, that feasibly could have been a weekend with Janet Mills, from what I hear. But John, isn't it funny when talking about all these threats? Remember in 2016, John, Attorney General Maura Healey in Massachusetts put a Trump hate hotline out there. So
I remember well.
This is because since Trump was now president, we were allowed to release our inner Nazi. So we were going to rip hijabs off of people and threaten minorities and things like that. And Maura Healey promised that she would have an update for us for all the never-ending threats that were seen around the Commonwealth, and there were essentially none. Because there were hoaxes. Like to a person, they were a hoax.
Like Jussie Smollett type of hoaxes.
Not even that. It's not even done that well. But along those lines, there was one that happened in a place called Malden, Massachusetts, a very diverse city of Massachusetts, where somebody said, somebody was trying to get on the MBTA, the train there, that somebody ripped off someone's hijab, literally, and said, now that Trump's president, we can do this. It's like when the left tries to pretend they're the right doing hate crimes, it's never right.
It's always like swastikas reversed or like going the wrong way, or it's always things like that.
Or the worst nooses in the history of
the nooses,
and then you have actual hate crimes where all the yes on one signs get vandalized with swastikas, and then Shanna Bellows doesn't say a single thing about it because she's opposed to that measure.
Right, or like menacing Jews on college campuses, where literally they're forcing Jews off of the quad, and that is like no, that's nuanced because there's bad things happening in Gaza. Okay, our biggest story here, this splash, if you will, is what we talked about yesterday. Our Maine's group homes, the next Medicaid scandal to unravel, which included John Featherston and Steve Robinson checking out a home care facility in Lewiston that, if you haven't seen the video, we're going to play some here, is horrific, and the hubris of the staff and the leadership of the healthcare company was astounding. And we'll just roll a few minutes of the video for you guys to see.
They were trying to feed him spaghetti that been sitting in there in the microwave for 3 days.
You guys are here now because the other people weren't providing care.
Why?
Like, he needs some help.
Can we get him a meal and his medicine this morning?
Yeah. Sir. Just. Stay out of their way. This is my play. All right. If anybody can leave, you're gonna leave.
John with the Maine Wire. We're here on Valley Street in Lewiston. Deplorable conditions inside of a home health care agency. A gentleman with special needs being provided health care by Lighthouse. So bad that his family had to come in and remove him from the conditions today. They're going to move him to another location. The sister of the gentleman came and removed him. Members of management of Lighthouse called the Lewiston Police Department because the Maine Wire was here reporting on the story. We're going to have a lot more to unfold here. This is kind of a breaking news story, and none of it's good.
Hey, good morning. How are you? My name's John. I'm with John with the Maine Wire. How are you? Good. Mike is just telling me things aren't going well here at the house. Like, there's not a lot of heat in the house, and
no heat.
Well, that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Oh, you sure? So it's my first time working here. That's why
today's your first day here?
Yeah.
So Mike, how many days have you been staying here?
Look how empty this place is.
Okay, where were you before?
It's like a jail cell.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
At the crisis
At the crisis home?
Up there in Drake.
You're getting the care and the meals that you want and everything like that?
Not the medicine I ain't getting.
You're not getting what?
There's no couch.
I ain't getting the care I'm supposed to.
You're not getting the care you're supposed to.
That's right.
You're being charged to live here, right? How much do you have to pay a month to live here?
$720.
You're paying $720 from your disability to live here? Okay. Okay. So they should be helping you, right? Okay. You're saying that they don't speak English?
Not very good.
Well, you guys speak English, right?
Oh man!
But you guys are. Today's your first day.
Yes, this is my first day.
Because let me be candid with you, because I think you guys are here because there were some problems, right?
Yeah.
There were some problems, right?
Sure.
Okay, so now you guys are here now because the other people weren't providing care.
Right.
But you know, he needs some help. I mean,
so
he needs.
Calling, he need help.
Well, look, just you know.
Yes.
Yeah, he needs some help.
She is like annoyed that you're asking her for help.
Yeah,
Okay, next time to you about
your boss.
Basically, what I'm looking for is people to take these stores that don't understand and make meals.
Okay.
They don't know how to do that.
Do you drive, Mike? You don't drive?
No.
Okay.
I can't drive.
Right.
You sure seen the spaghetti? They served me yesterday.
Tell me about the bananas, Mike. What happened with the bananas?
They were full.
Yeah, here is some people here, Mike call some people
Because there was no heat until
They
yesterday.
were going to eat,
they want to talk
but
to
they
you.
turned it up after we complained.
After you complained. Okay.
Okay, this is my boss.
Hey, good morning. How are you, sir? Who am I speaking with? My name is John. I'm a reporter with the Maine Wire. I guess Mike is saying that there's some problems here at the house, and I'm sorry.
You say your name is John?
Yes. Good morning.
And he ain't the boss.
You said you are the reporter?
It's with the Maine Wire. Yeah. We're just wondering. Can I be candid with you? Mike is making some saying that he hasn't had heat in his room. He quite obviously has some grooming issues that need to be resolved. You guys are instructed with his care. What's going on?
Sorry, are you working with the churches or things like that?
I'm sorry?
You working with the churches or you just a reporter for?
Correct, just a reporter. I don't work for DHS. No, but
I can't speak about that right now. So
okay.
Yeah.
Can we set up a time maybe that you and I could talk?
Not really this time.
It's almost harder to understand what he's saying than it is to understand what Mike's saying, and Mike is the one who's supposed to need the assistance.
Yep.
And these people at least speak English, but clearly there's some people there that don't.
A caseworker for the state, or a caseworker with your organization?
For the state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your company's role in all of this?
Julian.
Yes, sir.
Nothing yet.
We need to translate what he says there too. I don't think we've done that yet.
Today's just your first day today, so I mean you're just walking into all of this and everything. So what?
Yeah, not a good look.
Dude, you get the impression that these people who showed up for their first day were doing any better than the people who had been there before?
Well, if you watch the video, and I think the whole video is just about 25 minutes, I ask multiple times, never ask a question you don't already know the answer to as a reporter. What's the plan? What's the expectation? What does Mike's day look like? What is the plan for Mike today? What is the routine? None of these people have a routine. From the members of the management to the staff that was there today, they were there to punch in for 12 hours so they could bill the taxpayers that somebody there was for 12 hours. There was no meal plan. There was no medication plan. There was no hygiene plan for this. And listen, as you guys all know, I've been a special needs advocate for, almost 30 years. It's like what the Supreme Court said, you know what pornography is when you see it. You know a good healthcare system when you see it. You go in and there's a plan. Oftentimes it's on the refrigerator or the kitchen table. At 11 o'clock, we're going to give Tom his medicine. At 12:15, he's going to have lunch. And this is what his lunch is going to be that day because it files a dietary plan. There's no plan for this guy. This guy's got his food sitting next to his bed, and keep it. And you probably can't see it from the video. Mike has mobility problems. He can't go up and down stairs, but his room is, up on the second floor. I don't know how he even gets to a chair because there's no chairlift in the place. And the one thing the video does not show, and Matt, the producer, can verify, this man was filthy dirty and sitting in his own feces, sitting in his own urine. And, that doesn't come across in a video, but when you're talking to a human being that it is going through that, and you're a healthcare worker, the reporter is there, and they're not even saying, hey, listen, we're here to, get this man cleaned up. How many times did I ask this guy, hey, help this man? And they didn't even help him. I mean, it's so disturbing.
It's
the more I watch it, the more upset I get. Yeah.
It's horrifying for these people to have to go through that, especially just the idea that it's the people who most need assistance who have to go through this. And there's, to some extent, for him, at least he can talk to people, but a lot of them, there's nothing they can actually do to get themselves out of this situation. That is very horrifying.
Yeah. Well, and also, okay, so Mike's new there and they're new there. So we might, because they're new and feeling out their new job, we might be getting them at their best.
Yeah.
Before they say, okay, I see, we can just blow out of here and go to Olive Garden and drink Mick Ultras and watch TV for half the day. Like, who knows? But this is them just starting out. And just starting out, John, that you would be building a rapport, learning a little something about he didn't, if he said their names, I didn't hear it. He doesn't seem to know who they are.
He says it's every day it's somebody new that he doesn't know. I mean, I'm not trying to pick on the lady, but the lady was. Is it fair to say she showed up in her pajamas?
Oh yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Mickey Mouse pajamas. Yeah.
What is going on here? Be a professional. Show up. Put on some jeans and a t-shirt or something.
Yeah, I wonder whether these people are even actually licensed to be providing these services. And if so, what training are they supposed to be undergoing? Who signs off on this?
No, and I think home health services are not easy. To do it well, it's not easy. 30 years ago, we had somebody move in, a couple of different people move in with my grandmother, and they were trained and they could speak English. And it's still hard. It's still hard because people have pride and people have their own personalities, and but the healthcare people were taught to engage and do recreational things and to be patient. These people, I didn't exactly feel like John was interrupting a bonding process whatsoever. He was bothering them, is what he was doing.
Yep.
Yeah, and you saw the effort to keep John out of the house. Like, that just reeked of entitlement, where they were thinking that's their house rather than that individual's. And I think that kind of, in a way, encapsulates the entire issue, where you have these quote-unquote caregivers just treating this like a network of Airbnbs, basically, that they can just go and crash in. Mike also says in that video that the night before there was some guy who he described being like 16, 17 years old that didn't speak any English, that just slept on the ground in that house. And then this is in Lewiston, and we all know what's kind of happening in Lewiston in general as the city goes on. Like, you get some of the wrong people that get access to that house, like some dangerous things can happen. And unfortunately, we've heard reports about that from across Maine. Like, luckily, we were able to make this video because luckily, thank God, Mike has the capacity to reach out to his family for help and say, I'm not getting the treatment I need to get out of here. Unfortunately, there are individuals across Maine that do not have that capacity. So you just got to think about what's happening to them. And there's been reports of sexual harassment or unwanted sexual touching. There's been deaths that have happened. We have on the record video with some whistleblowers that we're going to be sharing, describing the conditions that they've experienced. And it's just the most vulnerable members of our society, and there seems to be absolutely no effort to rectify the situation from DHS. Like, when John called DHS, we posted the video today. it was the same thing we've got whenever we try to communicate with the Mills administration on anything, which is shoot me an email. And then, John, you said that you did shoot them an email and then never heard back. So how do you not reply to an email about that when you have clearly a crisis that's going on?
It's almost not worth even speculating, but I'm just wondering, how different would the DHS care about this if it was, say, the Press Herald or the Bangor Daily News? Not that they would do anything like this, but in this hypothetical world where they actually investigated something, would the DHS care in that case? Is it purely political, or is it actually complete apathy?
It's a great question. It's a great question. But I was in Portland this afternoon, and less than an hour ago, I left the Portland Assisted Living Complex in Portland, and I have a dozen people telling me they have bed bugs in their room. So, you know, being the investigative reporter that I am, can I speak to a member of management? Nice lady comes out and says, we don't have a problem. And I'm like, one of your residents just handed me a bed bug. Would you like me to hand it to you? And like, I have a dozen people telling me we have a problem. Well, maybe we do, maybe we don't. Here, call this number, which I haven't called yet because we're just getting ready to do this. But this is a systemic problem in Maine, though, is what I'm saying, because everybody that I met has a reason why they're living in this house, and you're just putting these people here, and like, let's hope the public doesn't find out about these things. Is the type of management that the trend that I am seeing, and it's such a disturbing trend. Like, I'll be candid with you. You know, I've been a housing commissioner for many, many years. Bed bugs happen in large complexes. It does happen. This lady that I talked to in the parking lot just less than an hour ago, well, how long has this been a bed bug problem? I don't know, 7, 8 years. I'm like, what? What do you mean 7 or 8 years? And the lady who runs the place is looking at me going, yeah, we don't have a bed bug problem. I'm like, but you got a dozen people out in the parking lot saying you do. So do people just not care? Or do people just hope that people aren't going to find out about it?
And it's only going to get worse if Maine's population continues to trend older. It's not going to get better with time.
Yeah, well, these are programs that have expanded dramatically under the Mills administration. The amount of money that's flowed into these programs has expanded dramatically, and Mills is bragging about it, and you can see how there's no oversight and no auditing process on any of this stuff. So this is just taxpayer money flowing completely unchecked to these organizations, and there's absolutely nothing that is being done to make sure that your money is being spent in the way that it's supposed to be spent.
And Seamus, you make a good point that these, as they get older, you know, the only power that senior citizens have is that they vote. But in a situation like Mike's, and there could be somebody else in that building as well, who's bringing those ballots to the polling stations? Who's mailing those ballots?
Who's filling them out?
I get the feeling we just met the guy on John's video who's going to be handling the ballots.
Yeah.
As far as bed bugs go, you know, I worked at a media company about 7 years ago. I got there and I said, and it was in an old building in Lowell, John, an old mill building. And I said, what are all these mouse traps everywhere, like these poison traps? And they said, no, those are for bed bugs. Because an employee came in who had bed bugs. We had 60 employees. And the company had to send exterminators out to everybody's home, every single person's home. It's no joke. Bed bugs, like, this is a dangerous thing to have.
They're dangerous, yeah. They're blood sucking. They're blood sucking insects. I mean, you know, if you get infested with bed bugs, you have a problem. Yeah.
Maybe we do, maybe we don't. She says, imagine that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I mean, you've seen this is just look at New York City after 1 month.
Oh, the trash. Yeah.
Full of trash. You wanted the dream. Here's the dream. Everybody can embrace it. Feels good. He said all the platitudes that you wanted to hear. They sound warm and fuzzy.
It's hilarious how quickly that happened too.
Yeah.
It was like immediate.
Well, right, because the people now in charge of powerful positions are, just like with Maine, are activists. So I'm not here to pick up the trash. Yeah. I'm here for social justice. What trash? It's like just amazing stuff. You know what? That brings me, we talk about what's going to bring the hammer down or any heat. Washington, D.C. today, there was a Senate site hearing where Josh Hawley had Keith Ellison there. He's the AG from Minnesota, who Minnesota's got was on the ground floor of the Somali fraud stuff too, and they hold huge political sway in Minnesota. And at some point, Keith Ellison was asked by the Somali community to these interest groups. They said, "Hey, we need you to get the heat off of us," and so Ellison did it. And all the receipts are there. I think we've got this, Matt. This Josh Hawley, Keith Ellison exchange is pretty damn good, and that's the thing that hopefully this is foreshadowing. This is coming to Maine.
Let's pray.
$9 billion in historic fraud out of your state, including the $250 million in the Feeding Our Future program alone. You familiar with that? Don't turn to the pages in your book to get your potted answers. Are you familiar with it? Yes or no?
Yes, I am familiar with it.
Very familiar, aren't you? Because the people who ran the Feeding Our Futures program came to you in your official office in the state capitol December 11th, 2021, and asked for your help in getting investigators off their backs. They complained to you for upwards of an hour about state investigators going after them, and they begged you to help them, and you agreed to it, amazingly. And we know you did because true. It's all caught on tape.
Yeah,
every single sentence is caught on tape. Here's what you said. Let's take a look. You said, it's not a question. You said to them, send me the names of all these folks who are investigating them. You said to them, send me their names. And I'll take that list, and I'll call the person over at Education who is investigating them and say, what's going on? Why am I getting these complaints? Then he went on to say, I already have my team working on this. What day should we get together to discuss it again? You made pledge after pledge to them. You said, we've got to make sure this guy who's investigating them stops it. You said, you have my attention. I'm concerned about this. You said, let's go fight these people, meaning the people who are investigating the fraud. Why'd you do it? Why'd you help them?
Are you going to let me answer?
Please. We're all ears.
So first of all, you're cherry picking quotes out of there.
Why did you help?
I thought you were going to let me answer.
Why did you
help? Are you going to let me answer?
Why did you help?
You let me answer, and I'll answer you.
Tell the truth, and I'll let you answer.
I will tell the truth.
I'd go over the desk after this guy.
Now see, Mr. Chairman, I didn't come here to be insulted. I came here voluntarily.
You came here for the truth. Let's have it. Why did you help them? The quotes are here. They're in black and white, and every member of this audience can listen to the recording. It's 54 minutes long. It's all in public. You can Google it right now and listen to it.
And listen to it all.
Why'd you help them?
First of all, I didn't help them.
You did help them.
No, I did not. I certainly didn't.
You're saying you didn't do anything for him. You didn't.
Well, wait a minute.
I already have my team working on this again. That's not you?
I have my team assisted with the information that led to the prosecution and conviction of these people.
No, you didn't. You didn't lift a finger to prosecute them. No, you did not.
No,
you didn't
because
lift a finger to prosecute
federal prosecution.
You had, BS. You had whistleblowers come to you as early as 2019.
You're the one talking BS.
Hey, listen, it's my time.
Doesn't know what you're talking about, sir.
No, sir. You now have encountered the truth and you don't like it. Why'd you take their money?
Why'd
you take their money?
I didn't.
You took $10,000.
No, that's a false statement.
$10,000 9 days after the meeting.
False statement.
You took $10,000. Here's what happened. They went to your office.
They
solicited money from you. They solicited help from you.
That's also wrong.
They came to your office. It was your official office. You met with them for 54 minutes.
No, they didn't.
They asked you for help. You pledged it to them, and they talked repeatedly about money. In fact, it's all they talked about.
That's a lie.
Money, 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 money. They said, we will put our dollars in the right place. We will support candidates that will fight to protect.
It's all on tape, but it's untrue.
That's right.
Right. How's this guy not under arrest?
Yeah, the Democrats are so much better at arresting people than Republicans are.
It's true. Republicans are pathetic at that.
I'm reading the transcript. The amount of money circulating in our community today is powerful, and we haven't realizing it in a meaningful way. And you said, give me the specifics. And 9 days later, you took $10,000 from people who were then indicted. It's in your reports. Why'd you do it?
Sir,
was it worth it?
You know what? This is a theatrical performance.
10,000. This is the truth. This is what accountability looks like, of which you've had none. You helped fraudsters defraud your state and this government of $9 billion, and you got a fat campaign contribution out of it. You ought to be indicted.
True. Well,
that's the truth.
I think we've made the point. Let's keep the tenor just
for the record.
I'll ask how I want.
He's lying,
Paul.
and that's
Well, there you go. And wouldn't that be nice to visit some of that heat on elected leaders in Maine?
It would be nice. And I think there's a lot of parallels between AG Fry and Keith Ellison there, especially with the power they wield over the investigation. I mean, we've talked about this at length, but any type of action on these people would come down to Attorney General Fry. He's not doing anything with any of this. But what he is doing is suing ExxonMobil for climate change issues and signing on to 10 gazillion different lawsuits against Trump because Janet Mills tells him to, and because she thinks it'll show that Maine is fighting back against the Trump regime. Like, nothing's going to ever come of those, but at least they can put a press release out saying, like, look, we're doing something. Yeah. But, like, when it comes to actually prosecuting fraud and saving money in Maine, like, he's totally MIA. He's not even trying to do anything about that. And they're doing everything that we've talked about where he's trying to avoid subpoenas. And I think they're really scrambling. And I don't think it's totally unrealistic that AG Fry could be up there at some point.
But
has anybody in elected leadership in Augusta seen the Maine Wire video today, you think?
Yes.
Yeah, Billy Bob, I think, has. There's some Republicans that have shared it. I appreciate Robert Wessels, the gubernatorial candidate, for immediately sharing that video and putting a statement out.
So politicians are aware of it. So where is the public outrage? Where is the governor? Where is the Speaker of the House? Where's the Speaker of the Senate going, holy moly, this is an explosive video posted by the Maine Wire here. We need to look into this. Where's the mainstream media going, wow, the Maine Wire posted a video today. You know, we might not like the Maine Wire, but it's legitimate. I mean, it's all right there. It's all there for the world to see. Where's the calls for the investigation on this? And instead, it's just a typical Augusta thing. Don't talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, we don't have to deny anything. I mean, it's troubling. It's troubling.
I think the silence is an indicator. I think they're circling the wagons. I think that they know there's heat. I think that each politician is taking inventory and saying, okay, who can hurt me here? And who can I hurt if I need to? And let's hope that this heat bypasses us. And I think there are lots of moves. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if Janet Mills had somebody right now talking to heads of universities, asking if there's a gig available, some kind of parachute out there for a no-show $500K a year job when this all explodes.
Part of what I'm afraid of, though, is that we're going to get, even if the federal government does start looking into it, we're going to get is a angry meeting like we just saw, where are we actually going to get any action? Because they don't seem to like to take action on the federal level either. They like to put on a show. They like doing things like that, where, I mean, realistically, I'm not trying to defend the fraudster guy, but he is trying to at least say an answer. He may be lying. He probably is lying, but at least let him get out what he wants to say before you start. It's pure theatrics rather than actually pursuing a just resolution to this.
And I agree with everything Seamus just said, but I also want to say to people, if you've sent me a message today, I have not had a chance to get back to them, but I probably have 100 between Facebook and emails and texts of people reaching out to me today. This isn't a one-time story, is what I'm saying. People are coming out of the woodwork, it seems like. And Graham, you're probably getting inundated. And please keep sending the tips. John, without an H, John at themainewire.com. Keep sending them. But if you're a politician thinking this story is going to, fade away by the weekend, it's not going to fade away, because people are saying, come look at this, come look at this, come look at this. I have a loved one in this house. I have a father, a mother in this place, and we're gonna keep looking, is what I'm saying. So it's not going to go away.
Yep. Republicans in Maine should understand this is a winning issue, and if the Democrats are going to remain silent, they should be going all in on this. They should be doing more than writing an angry letter or holding a press conference. They should be inviting the relatives of some of these people to Augusta. They should be going to tour these houses themselves. There's only so much that we can do to bring light to the issue. It's up to the Maine GOP and Republicans in the state to take the ball and run with it. We're giving you an opportunity here to really get a winning issue, and it's up to them to make something out of it, to seize the opportunity.
Asking if you're a Democrat, or if you're a Democrat, an independent, or a Republican, and you want to ride along when we go to these houses, send us an email, send us a text. I'll pick you up. I'll buy the coffee. Even let's go, because this is a big problem. This is a nonpartisan big problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but asking Republicans to identify a winning issue is a pretty tall order. That's
unfortunately that's right.
an unfortunately tall order. But yeah, this should not be a partisan thing. They really this should be an issue that every voter looks at and says, who is helping to stop this from happening? And then regardless of party, that should be an important thing for voters, and it probably will be an important thing for voters, but whether any politicians of any party recognize that is very questionable.
Yeah, and Seamus, I do think that I appreciate and agree with you that this is theatrics happening there, but in some cases, you've got a pile of crap here and you're just looking for the truffle in it. And I do think in this case, there is the truffle. Like, Ellison is a crook.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm not trying to defend Ellison at all.
Yeah, but the theatrics are gross. There's no doubt about it. And both sides do it. And let me reclaim my time, and they browbeat the person. And it is gross, and that's what we get for having C-SPAN. But, and you're right, and actually, Seamus, that's the important thing. What happens if the Republicans get swept out in November?
Yeah.
Because these hearings are going away. And we're going to need an AG who can successfully prosecute federal crimes here. If they've got,
if this guy's committing fraud and we have so much evidence of it, how about we see him in handcuffs and see a mugshot? And
anybody in handcuffs. Anybody.
I would be happy with anybody in handcuffs. Yeah, anybody. Like, you have to put a stake in the ground and say enough. As we've said, fraud is theft, but somebody needs to be held accountable. Until anybody is held accountable, it's almost like you're still telling people, "We'll try to get away with it. Try to get away with it."
Yeah.
In that video, there was a police officer walking up towards the end. I was hoping he was walking up, going to put handcuffs on Ellison. I was like, all right, but
I remember when they went after Trump a couple years ago for everything, tried to take his business and put him in jail. And I remember hearing some Republicans who just Trump derangement syndrome Republicans say, you know what? Even if these charges are BS, he deserves it because he's a bad guy. I'd put Ellison, going by their standard, I'd put Ellison right up there as well. Like, he is
Tim Walz.
Well, Ellison certainly, because he's large. Tim Walz too, and Jacob Fry, absolutely. But Ellison was instrumental in crafting the George Floyd canard, which, and like, how many lives did that cost, and how many education systems did that cost, and city, that's why we've got the AG in Connecticut. Instead of anybody prosecuting anybody for stealing cars, you've got the AG going after Hyundai, which is just the most
repercussions
for cars that can be stolen, which is the most cynical thing that these people could do.
Yep.
AG Fry was cheating on his wife with an intern.
Oh, right.
Or an intern, or was it a staffer?
I think it was a staffer. I'm pretty sure it was a staffer.
Got a $60K no-bid contract to soundproof his office, and is still the attorney general with almost no blowback.
How
is that not a career ender?
The soundproofing aspect just takes it from a normal scandal to a hilarious scandal.
Yeah, exactly. It is so obvious too.
And by the way, depending on how big the room is, $60K to soundproof is a lot of money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You can buy baffles for $1 per square foot.
You could buy 2 EV chargers in South Portland with that money, Tom. That's big money we're talking about.
Yeah. That's a great point. Somebody makes a point here in the comments that you could hear that the place is so sparse that John was inside in Lewiston that you could hear echoes. And speaking of needing soundproofing, you could hear echoes because there's no furniture to absorb anything. So it sounds like a racquetball court in there.
Yeah, why are they not furnishing it if they're using it as, like, if it's the place that they're staying? I don't really understand that, even from a practical aspect, for the benefit of the people who are the caregivers. Like, don't they want to sit down when they're here? It's just very strange.
Maybe Mike's Social Security check hadn't arrived yet, so they were holding off on the idea. Let's see. John says, Shanna's new book, Where's My Ballots Today? There you go. That's UPS did that, right? James says, Feather, you have more restraint than I would have had. You do have a lot of restraint, John. At some point, you just got to crack, right? And have a falling down moment.
It really took if you've watched the video where I say, "Hey, let's have a little professional courtesy," I literally had to catch myself because I was going to use a word that starts with M and it has an MFer in it. I was ready to drop the MFer on him. I really was. I was like, "Listen, mother." And then when I'm outside, I'm like, "If you're going to be a Type A personality with me, I was really ready to go off." And my problem is I'm pretty calm diplomat, nice guy. But when I go off, it's really ugly. So I try not to go off. So
yeah. I mean, I think you handled that situation pretty well, John. I just think that video shows that guy's entitlement where you can just roll in and thinks that he owns the place, and he doesn't own the place.
And you're gonna bully me? Yeah, bully. I mean, but here's the thing, and I can't stress this enough. There is a nonverbal lady in this building still, to the best of our knowledge today. There is what are they doing to this lady? And what type of situation is she in? Because she can't pick up the phone and call, a loved one and say, "Hey, come get me." She's nonverbal. So are these entitled punks who aren't trained? Are they still in the room with her and taking care of her? And that's where is DHSS on this? Like we've identified, we've identified fraud in the state and said, "Hey, here's the fraud. Here's the files. Go look at it." We've identified this. If DHS isn't there right now, making sure that this nonverbal 80-year-old lady is okay, then shame on them,
Yep. I don't know if
and there's 100 more of these stories across the state.
I don't know if this is for public consumption yet or not, but didn't we have eyes over there today noticing a little bit of or no, was that the different residence?
That was a different location.
It's
a different location.
Okay. All right. James says, don't these caregivers need to have credentials? Funny, James. In the real world, you would. You would figure. But let me ask you about one of the caregivers, John, the guy who was facing off against you. What was his end game with recording you?
Yeah.
Like, what is that supposed to? Was he going to give it to the Portland Press Herald? What does that do?
Well, here's the thing. I'm sure with some clever editing, it's Sophia Khalid might get a copy of this and then somehow turn this into a racist. The Maine Wire is racist, and look at the way that they talk to this guy. And that's one of the reasons why you try to keep your composure and you don't go off, so you don't give them anything. But they think if they record us, that it's going to intimidate us. Well, one is Steve brilliantly pointed out, I had permission to record Mike, but they did not have permission to record Mike. That is a huge, and I stress huge, HIPAA violation because we blurred out the video. Do you think they're blurring out the video? I mean, there can't be a bigger HIPAA violation than them videotaping one of their own clients. I mean, that's creepy.
Here's the nightmare here. This is from Debbie. Same thing at the group home where my brother is. I called adult services. I had videos. My mother even hired a lawyer. They sided with the state. Which is
Debbie, reach out to us or reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you.
It really makes you think with this and so many other issues with Gateway Community Services, like they just care about these votes so much. This is a voting block for them, and they are willing to turn such a blind eye, it appears, to all of these issues just to let these votes flow in.
That's true,
The lengths they go to stay in power are disgusting, and people are legitimately getting hurt because of it.
Yeah, the
guys,
voter aspect, that's
go ahead.
probably a large contributing factor in their decision to ignore this, just because it's easy to farm votes out of these places.
I just got a message from Katrina Smith, the assistant leader of the Republican Party. She wants to do a ride along with me, so I look forward to that. So I'll be in touch, Katrina. I mean, yeah, definitely. Bring your camera.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing that. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, Seamus, I think that's the next vote bundling and like ballot harvesting is another side of this that I think that it only makes sense. Everything else is designed to facilitate the grift. Why wouldn't you secure these votes for yourselves? Of course you would.
Well, Tom, that is the piece of the puzzle that was just revealed with these recordings from the Enquirer, where the election clerk literally admits essentially that that's happening. She says on tape that you can send an absentee ballot to a P.O. box and that anyone can go to the P.O. box and pick it up, fill out the ballot, and then drop it anonymously in a ballot drop box. And they actually killed a bill in the legislature that would prevent a camera from all the ballot drop boxes. So they killed a bill that would, even that tiny, which would not have been that expensive. And that's the reason they killed it. They said it's completely unnecessary. We have no evidence of any type of fraud going on. So why would we
evidence
pay
because
the
there's
money
no
to put cameras up? Yeah, exactly. It would not have been that expensive to put cameras up on these ballot drop boxes. And it would have been at least a little bit. But right now, there's nothing stopping, for example, the guy in the red shirt there from filing all of his employees online to vote, sending them to a P.O. box, going up to pick all in the residents, not even the employees, and the residents, sending the absentee ballots to either one of those homes or to a P.O. box, filling them out and dropping them all in at a P.O. box or at the ballot drop box at the same time. That's probably happening.
Or mailing them to Angola. She was like, yeah, if you want to, you can go to the P.O. box, pick it up for him, mail it to Angola, and he can send it back.
Well, she actually said, we'll email it to him, which was the most scary thing to me.
That would be easier, but she did specify that both options were options.
But think about it, like how many emails are going out going, here's your ballot. And to Graham's point, you've got 100 emails going out and there's no cameras. Like somebody just sending out 100 emails and they're getting 100 ballots and then sticking them in a ballot box.
How secure are emails really? Like,
not.
It's just going to your Gmail account and
they're also scouring the internet and the data for any potential eligible voter. And I've had a bunch of DMs this week because apparently the Secretary of State, and they put a little Facebook post out about this, they're sending like voter registration cards out. So people have sent me DMs and be like, hey, I got a card for a guy that moved out of this house 8 years ago. They just sent a card to my house saying, hey, do you want to register to vote? So they are really like the official Secretary of State is trying their hardest to get as many of these people overseas and anywhere as possible to vote, and then they can vote via this email system. And the UACAVA votes skewed like something like 80-20 to Democrats, and that flipped the balance of power in the state house this last year. Those votes did, because it came down to like 65 votes total between all the state house races. And if that was different, if there were no UACAVA votes, if they didn't exist, the Republicans would have control of the state house in Maine right now. So that legitimately swung the election.
Well, we didn't talk about it yesterday, but Laura Libby is calling for Shanna Bellows to step down because, should Shanna Bellows oversee her own election? And I think it's a very good question. Yeah. Shanna Bellows shouldn't be the Secretary of State of Maine, number one. But more importantly, she's proven she can't be trusted with an election. And should she oversee her own election where she's on the ballot? Absolutely not. Right? I mean, so everybody go online and sign that petition. I mean, holy moly.
Yeah, the irony of Shanna Bellows saying we're not going to give the Department of Justice your voter data, while she has a tremendously unfair advantage in her election by having a monopoly over this voter data, is not lost on me. Like, why are the other Democrats in the primary not calling her out on this? It's a clear competitive advantage to have unilateral access to the entire voter database when no one else can.
And she can use her position to campaign, which, I mean, there's a thin line between her in her official capacity delivering statements and her as a campaigning candidate delivering statements. The line is very, very blurred.
Yep, and the company car. You can't forget the company car.
Yeah.
Graham, did you have a last minute item?
Yeah. I do just want to talk about this hilarious post that Shelley Pingree made, because she just fires off these Instagram posts immediately without really thinking about it, I think. And she posted something today a couple hours ago that I think just nukes Governor Mills' entire campaign narrative against Susan Collins. And I think you might have that, Matt, if you can. Yeah. So she wrote a letter that went along with this too. So long story short, she's basically begging the Trump administration for a meeting and saying that they won't even return my messages and me and Angus King. So she's admitting that she's useless and is not able to get anything done is essentially what's happening. And she's trying to pin this on the Trump administration. So the entire time, Governor Mills is, if you just scroll through her Twitter, you'll see it in 2 seconds. Her entire narrative is basically like, oh, Susan Collins is concerned, but she doesn't do anything. She's always too late. She's not actually having the back of anyone in Maine. Well, here we have Shelley Pingree admitting that she can't even get a text back from the Trump administration. And Susan Collins is the one who actually ended the ICE surge. So while Shelley Pingree was making angry Instagram videos, Susan Collins was negotiating politely with the Trump administration and actually getting things done. So Susan Collins owes Shelley Pingree a big thank you, I think, for this post for kind of accidentally showing the value that Susan Collins brings to the table.
It is interesting just how novice level that is, too. Like, where is the political the legacy political wisdom? It's just not there.
My guess is that some of these people now they got into politics and they were used to having not such a direct mode of communication with constituents. They weren't used to being able to just post whatever. And so before that, they probably had staffers vetting everything. Now it's a lot of geriatric people in Congress who just got social media just figured out how to use Facebook 2 years ago. And now they're just going wild with it.
Yeah, what Shelley Pingree is saying from this post is that if it wasn't for Susan Collins, the ICE surge would still be happening. Do you think they would reply to a letter from Governor Mills if she was in Senate? Absolutely not. If they're not going to reply to Shelley and Angus King, she's admitting that Susan Collins actually got something done. And I wish the ICE surge was still happening.
Yeah.
So, I'm not thrilled about it in that way. But I'm just the point of what this post shows.
But Pingree's whole career is that she's the daughter of a United States Congresswoman. I mean, that's her whole career. And she thinks, based on that, she's qualified to be the governor of Maine. And I think it's fair to say, Republican or Democrat, the governor of Maine in the next cycle is probably the most important governor in the history of Maine. Maine is a shit show. Excuse my language. It's a shit show. It's in a financial crisis. It's in an environmental crisis. It's in a healthcare crisis. The next governor of Maine has to be a talented individual. It can't be a place card holder in the Democratic Party it has to be. We need a manager to manage Maine. And if you don't get it and you continue this woke agenda and non-accountability agenda and law enforcement is bad and we need more needles on our street and we need, more food pantries in our community, Maine is done because people are going to leave Maine or people are going to die in Maine because it's an older population. Yeah. And the voters really need to wake up. Okay. Maybe Shelley Pingree is a very nice lady, and I'm not here to say that she's not. She can be very pleasant, but she's not qualified to be the governor of a crisis situation. Maine is in a crisis. You need a crisis manager. Janet Mills is not a crisis manager. Shelley Pingree is not. Shanna Bellows couldn't manage lunch tomorrow, much less the state. People need to really wake up and see what's going on here.
So nationally, there is. Oh, by the way, some people are on the Facebook chat are asking for a link to the YouTube that's got the video. You can also get it at the Robinson Report. But are we able to do that? Is that a
yeah? Well, as soon as I get off of this, I'll throw the link in the comments on this one.
We've also got nationally the SAVE Act, which is a voting security act, just passed the House. Susan Collins probably will not vote for it. It probably will get tanked in the Senate because it's got citizenship provisions in it, which means that you'd have to at some point get a birth certificate or a passport to prove you're an American citizen. And a lot of people are tepid about that. but what it's not is Jim Crow. And there was an amazing back and forth on CNN last night about this, where Scott Jennings, once again, it's the Scott Jennings versus the Crazed Zombies show on CNN. And they can't explain to him why it's racist and why it's Jim Crow, but they just know it is.
No, because it legitimately has not even one thing at all to do with race at all.
Right.
It is entirely unrelated to race.
Well,
you talk about a guy with patience. He has the patience of a saint that he has to go on CNN 5 nights a week and deal with those wackos. And he does it very well. Yeah.
Roll that if you can, Matt, if you see that. The other thing is, Seamus, is that like 70 or something % of Black Americans want to show ID. So, and I believe that they were singularly affected by Jim Crow. So why don't we just take their word for it being okay?
Is actually championing a bill that actually would take voting rights away from a lot of Black people in this country.
Wait, what voting rights is he taking away from Black voters?
Oh, if we look at
the SAVE Act?
The SAVE Act, that's exactly what we're talking about. That is actually going to continue to disenfranchise overwhelmingly a lot of people of color. There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise Black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called it Jim Crow 2.0.
So,
this is the same president. If we want to continue...
You haven't said how yet.
I am talking about it. It's the way that you're putting new poll taxes on this when you're making people have... That's what we can call them now. It's kind of an idiom, right? If you want to say that people have to prove that they are citizens, that they have to prove with a voter ID, the reality is you're layering what is a constitutional right for the American people and making it harder for people to vote in this country, and it's going to disenfranchise Black voters.
Concern you that you're making all these claims? You've yet to lay out how it's hurting anyone, but 76% of Black voters think we should show an ID to vote. 80% of Hispanic voters, 83% of the American people. Are you saying that Black voters are too dumb to know what's good for them? I mean, it sounds pretty condescending to me.
That's not
you get 3/4 of Black voters who want voter ID.
But to be clear, the SAVE Act is not just about IDs. The SAVE Act is about proof of citizenship. So it doesn't.
It also makes it very hard for married women who've changed
I was just going to say, we talked about this before.
By the way.
It's not. It actually, there's an argument to be made that red state voters, women, poor white voters could be just as.
I know you think they're dumb too, don't you? I mean, that's the thing. I hear these arguments. I've heard Democrats all week long.
No, please don't. No, you listen.
There's the deflection from talking about Donald Trump's racism.
I'm actually
right there.
You should be thinking about your constituents or your.
I think they're smart enough to figure out how to register to vote.
Wow.
Hold on.
That's okay.
Most Americans don't have a passport.
You should be thinking about the poor whites, okay? Because they're also stupid in this. So
they've been doing this for such a long time that I wonder how many people that flies for still. Like, how many people are still buying the voter ID is racist angle? I kind of thought that they switched more. Well, it seems like they talked about it in there a little bit, but I've heard more recently the married women aren't going to be able to vote angle. That it seems like they've kind of pivoted into that because they realized
Elizabeth Warren was saying that.
Yeah, it seems like they realized that. Wait, if we say that Black people can't vote because of this, aren't we saying that means Black people don't know how to get IDs? Because that seems like that's the logical conclusion of what they're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the voter ID law in Maine. It's like they knew they wouldn't win if it was advertised as voter ID law, so they changed it to save absentee ballot voting because they're trying to change the argument and pivot.
To be fair, the people who put that forward also caused that.
Yes.
To an extent, for sure, it could have been a more packaged up initiative, but Shenna Bellows really was able to use her power as the Secretary of State and write that question. Yep. And even people who were huge fans of voter ID laws were sending DMs to the account being like,
"Yeah,
this makes no sense. Why would they submit an initiative like that?" And I was like, "Oh, well, Shenna Bellows wrote it this way." But my take was the SAVE Act is like, what would you rather? Make it slightly harder to register to vote for a tiny minority of people and ensure that we have free and fair elections that everyone can count on? or have lawless elections where anyone can vote no matter what. I mean, I would prefer the former personally.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, isn't rigged voting institutionalized in Maine with ranked choice voting?
Yes.
I mean, talk about a formula for losing.
You vote till your guy wins. Yep, vote till your guy wins.
Move forward with a bill that would extend. Didn't like the state legislature just move forward with the bill that was going to extend ranked choice voting?
Yeah, we wrote a piece on it. Yep.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because they put it forward under the understanding that it is not legal. So it's like put forward with I'm blanking on the correct parliamentary terminology for it, but there's some parliamentary word where it passed like under a memorandum of understanding that it's probably not legal, and the courts need to review it. So
lawmakers in Maine put forward a law that they know is not legal and want you not to question it. That tells you everything you need to know about how corrupt Maine is.
Yeah. James says CNN is lunacy. Why is Scott Jennings even there? They don't want him there. It's only the sales department who's happy he's there because he gets numbers, because he's the only good programming that there is.
He's the only reason why any of us ever saw that clip. Like, no one would have seen that clip if he wasn't there.
Good point. Great point.
Well, all right. I think that'll do it. Anybody have anything else, or should we wrap it up for tonight?
Good on my end.
We're good.
We'll be out exposing more fraud tomorrow. A lot of people have reached out to my request to, hey, if you want to do a ride along, lawmakers want to do a ride along. So I mean, I think that'll be interesting because, like I said, this problem's not going away. I mean, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So thank you.
Yeah, much more to come. Much more to come on this story. Really appreciate everyone liking, sharing the video. Like, we don't really ask for it often, but this is the video that I think it would be great if you shared it, so just everyone could see just the deplorable conditions that are happening in the state.
Did I see a Stallone watching the video? Is this factual, or is this urban legend?
No, that is factual. Frank Stallone is in the comments with some choice words for some of the caretakers.
Frank saw it, Sylvester saw it, and now we're talking. Let's go. All right, guys. He is John Featherston, Graham Pollard, Seamus Othot. My name is Tom Shattuck. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.